let me get into some of the technicals of the blade. The sheaths sort of speak for themselves. They both do a very good job in their design. They're designed very well. One's more simplistic than the other. But if I had to give an edge to the sheath, I would give it to the Gerber LMF with one exception. This locking mechanism, I don't like this locking mechanism on a knife. The longer you hold it in there, the more that this is going to sort of open up on you and become less reliable. But you've got two retention straps. But you take those retention straps out and you just put this on your gear, this is what you're faced with. Now, I'm going to press in and pretty much as hard as I can. And I'm going to see if I can make that lock. And I can't. That's as far as I can get that thing in there. So you guys decide. Now, is it in there pretty good? Yeah, it's in there all right. It's not going to slide out. But one thing I've noticed in using this sheath, and this is a real large criticism I have of the design of this handle and the material of the handle on the Gerber LMF, that I really, really enjoy the upgrade or the difference, whatever you want to call it, with the glass-filled nylon handle of the K-bar fin blade, is that when you've got in the hand, this is a glass-filled nylon handle with the TPV overmold that gives it that rubberized feeling to it, whereas this is a more, I don't want to call it like a Zytel, but it's just a little bit harder, whereas this gives you the rubber. And some of that comes back down to the wire cutting capabilities. You cut live wires with this, and the handle, electricity will not transfer in your hand through the handle. Not a full tang design. If you see some of those destruction tests on, you'll see this knife break right in here, because that's where it stops. It's not a full tang that extends all the way into this butt cap where you've got the glass breaker and the pommel for driving in nails. And you can see I have used that before. It works very well. A feature that this does not have, the Gerber or the K-bar, but you could use the back of this, although I haven't. The only thing I don't like about using the back of knives to do that is the edge becomes exposed to your face, your arm, whatever that may be. So be really careful when you do that, and just be aware of that. If the blade's wet or something, or you don't have good footing, dry it off and take that extra step, because you get cut out in the field and it's not a good situation. But I will tell you, my main concern that I have with this blade, and you've heard in some of my other videos, is that this TPV overmold material just doesn't wear very well. I don't know if you guys can pick that up or not. I'll move it around a little bit so you can. But can you just see how gnarled up this thing is? And that's just from general use. I mean, I've never hit the bottom of this in a batoning exercise or splitting wood. This is just general use, and it just gets all gnarled up really quickly. It's not a very durable material. You can see up here I have hit this before with a piece of wood as I was batoning, and guess what happened? This is why I hate top finger guards. One, because they either thrash your baton and make it more difficult for you and less efficient if you're batoning through a piece of wood any longer than pretty much half the width of this. But check it out. Breakage right there. The plastic piece at the hilt of this, snap right off, and exposes the steel inside of there to foreign objects, dirt, debris, and water, fresh or salt. Yep, that's right. That's what I don't like. Really large criticism of that. In the field, you cannot have pieces of your knife breaking off. I don't care how it's designed. I don't care. You can saw through a 747. That's awesome. How about making a, how about going through a piece of wood and not having the back of the hilt bust off on you? That'd be nice. That's a big criticism I have. I'm disappointed in that. If you're gonna put this knife through a piece of wood for to build a fire, to get down to that hard wood in the center, to get around that wet edges where the water soaks into the bark, if you're gonna get down there, and this is a 4 5/8 inch blade, I believe. Check me on that one. I know for a fact it's not 4.84 as I look at my fact sheet. That's what it is. So it's not a 5-inch blade. Neither is the K-bar fin. So you've got sub 5-inch, which puts you in that medium category. Both hollow ground, both razor sharp out of the box. Again, half serrated, full plain edge. Love the full plain edge. I don't really like the half serrated. Give me all or give me nothing, if that makes any sense. Give me just a full run of one or the other. But both of them really sharp out of the box. Good job, Gerber, and good job, as always, K-Bar. Both of them about 3/16 inch for a spine, so you've got a lot of strength in the spine as you go down to the 20-degree grind on the hollow grind. This steel is a 420 HC, and check me on this, but I believe in 2008 for a few months they used to have the Swedish steel, I believe the 12C steel, and then they switched to, because of production costs, or whatever you want to call it, instability with the material, they switched, I believe, to a 440 for a couple months in the beginning of 2008, and then April 2008 all the knives after that were produced with the 420 HC steel, which I believe was perfected pretty much by Buck Knives. It's a good steel from what I can tell, holds a good edge, and you can put an edge pretty quick back onto it. It'll be corrosion resistance for your water application, so good job on the choice of steel. Pretty durable as well. I've put this thing through a lot of abuse, and you don't see a ton of damage on it at all, really. It wears very well. So good job, made in the good old USA. K-Bar fin blade, all these offerings, while they do have different blade offerings in terms of drop point, tanto, serrations, plain edge, it's going to be D2 steel, 20-degree grind down, which is going to give you a razor sharp edge, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult when this dulls out to put an edge back on. I have not had any trouble with this stuff chipping, and again, I've used it cold, hot, wet, humid, dry, all the above. I have had this below freezing. I have batoned with it straight into the ground, all that stuff, and I haven't had any problem with it chipping. I suspect if you change this grind from a 20-degree to something a little bit more steep than that, you will experience chipping, and that's just due to the D2 steel being a little bit bigger molecules, and you're going to thin this out, and you're going to run the risk of that stuff chipping out on you, and that's just a component of the D2 steel. Both of them have the glass breakers on the back. This is a full tang design, and looky here, no top knife guard. You'll see in my video I absolutely pound on the back of this knife through that pine, no problem whatsoever. Love that. I love that fact. Also, you can take this handle off. You put this in a water application, or if debris, you suspect debris may have gotten under there, pull these hex screws off, clean it off, wipe it down, dry it out, drill them right back in. I really like that. Good job, K-Bar. Lashing holes on both of them. Awesome design, front and back. Two in the front, one in the back. Really a lot of thought goes into these knives, and again, we as users get to benefit completely from these high value offerings from these two companies. Overall, I'm going to give the edge to K-Bar, and here's why. In the field, what I need is a knife that's not going to break and that I can put through a lot of, I don't want to call it knife abuse, but I feel what a knife should be able to do in the field if it's going to be a proponent or present itself as a survival blade is you have to be able to hit all parts of the knife as these things get bumped and jarred and hit and bent and smashed without running the risk of either significant wear, a la the bottom of this, or breaking, a la the hilt of this. So while both knives give you a lot of capability, I feel like one excels in durability, and that's going to be the K-Bar. Again, I really like both of these knives. I think they offer the user out of the box just tremendous capacity as a survival knife. Convert it to a spear with the lashing capabilities, put it in the water, bang it through wood, get it in the snow, sharpen it back up. Great offerings from two good companies. Again, I give the edge in the sheath to Gerber. I don't know what you couldn't do with that sheath. It's just an amazing constructed sheath. But in terms of the knife, what you actually buy and what you're actually going to use, I have to give the edge to the K-Bar. If Gerber can come up with two things, if they can come up with a way to solve that problem on the hilt as well as give me a straight edge blade, I think I might have to give the edge to Gerber. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed the head-to-head. I give it to K-Bar. Franchise Kid, out.